All right, so we've had a couple new developments with the Brandon Ingram scenario. Not really developments, but I'll tell you why they are a big deal. The first one being Brandon Ingram did not show up to voluntary workouts with the Pelicans. Now, they are voluntary, right? But if you've been following the Pelicans over the last couple years, Brandon Ingram has been the main guy organizing these runs, getting the young guys involved, trying to build team chemistry, and now he's not showing up to voluntary workouts. It would be different if it was Zion, right? And I'm not saying that as a shot at Zion, but Zion has always kind of been off to himself. He's not really one of the guys in that way. And again, I'm not saying that as a slight. You could just see it in his personality. Zion keeps to himself. As where Brandon Ingram is one of the guys, you know, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado, and obviously guys that are no longer on the team, and Najee Marshall, Josh Hart, Larry Nance. I believe all those guys view Brandon Ingram like as a good friend, whereas they probably view Zion more like a coworker. Again, not a shot. So Brandon Ingram is actively choosing not to go participate in workouts with essentially his homies. And for the reason I just explained, that is a pretty big deal. But maybe the bigger deal is Brandon Ingram posted this on his Instagram a couple days ago.
Cannot stay in environments where people don't know the true value of you. If you stay in environments where people don't recognize the value of you, you will shrink your gift to the size of what they can stand.
Now, if someone is posting that, does that tell you that is someone that is ready to buy into a lesser role on offense? Absolutely not. And I just talked about this in a recent video. If you guys want me to go more in depth on this situation, go watch this video right here, because I really broke it down in that video, but I can give you guys a shorter version in this video right here, right? So what Brandon Ingram is saying there, or what the guy is saying there, I'm not sure who that guy is. Maybe I should know. Maybe I'm about to lose my black card. Maybe I should know. But he's not wrong. And we see this with so many players in the NBA. Once you conform to a certain role, that's how you're viewed the rest of your career. So let's say the best case scenario for the Pelicans, Brandon Ingram embraces this lesser role. He's only averaging 18, 19 points a game, and he's rebounding more, and he's playing better defense, and the Pelicans are a 55-win team, and they lose in the conference finals. What does that actually do for Brandon Ingram? Does it help his value, or does it lower his value? Because right now, there's at least a couple people out there that believe Brandon Ingram can be a number 2, number 3 option on the team. And you might say, obviously not, because the Pelicans haven't been able to trade him. Well, we don't know what the Pelicans have turned down. We also don't know what teams that don't really have any assets to get Brandon Ingram might actually want Brandon Ingram. So we don't know exactly how low his value is, but we know it's pretty low, right? But right now, there's at least some illusion that Brandon Ingram is a star-level player. If Brandon Ingram embraces his role and becomes a legitimate role player, if his goal is getting paid, which all of our goals should be to get paid to some extent, right? Does that get him paid? There's not a lot of OG Anunobis walking around the league getting paid max money to be a role player. I might have mentioned this in the last video as well, but Kelly Oubre, not on the same level as Brandon Ingram, right, for sure. But he's someone that was scoring 20 points per game, embraced the role in Philly, you know, his stats went down a little bit, and he got rewarded with $8 million. That's all Kelly Oubre got. So to me, Brandon Ingram with New Orleans is really in a lose-lose position if his goal is still getting paid. I don't see a world unless he somehow becomes one of the best defenders in the NBA, which is not going to happen, unless he's taking 8, 9 threes a game, which is not going to happen. I don't see Brandon Ingram averaging 18 points, 8 boards, and 4 assists on 50, 40, 90. I don't see him getting paid max money. Like I said, even if they win 55 games, go to the conference finals, the perception of BI kind of is what it is right now, and I don't think him being a role player is going to change that perception on this particular team, which is why I feel like it makes too much sense for each side to move on from each other. This is going to be a problem in the locker room. I'm not saying it's because Brandon Ingram's going to make it a problem, but just natural human emotion. Brandon Ingram wants to get paid. Trey Murphy wants to get paid. CJ McCollum probably doesn't feel like he's a 6 man. There's just too much going on in that locker room. I think rip the Band-Aid off, trade Brandon Ingram, even though you're going to get probably a lesser player than Brandon Ingram. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet. And the other thing I mentioned in that video about Brandon Ingram, I said I feel like Brandon Ingram's biggest weakness is self-awareness. In this post right here, you could argue it's very aware because I just said he's right. So you could argue it's very aware, but it's also kind of lacking self-awareness, as in, look at what you're being offered right now. Look at the teams not trying to get you. Maybe you don't do that. Maybe maybe the best course of action is to, play the good soldier role, even though I'm telling you guys, I don't believe in that. But a lot of opposing coaches or GMs probably feel the way I feel, where they feel like his weakness is his lack of awareness, lack of self-awareness, lack of awareness of what a team might need from him in a particular game or particular situation. Brandon Ingram is always going to play Brandon Ingram's game, and that's why he's saying they don't value him, because they don't want him to play that particular game. And I'm not sure how many teams around the league want BI to play that particular game, because no matter where he goes, he's going to have to change his game up a little bit. But I do feel like the Pelicans is going to be extreme. It's going to be extreme because they did not trade for DeJounte Murray for him to change his game. And a lot of his game overlaps with Brandon Ingram's game. Obviously, different type of players. I've said it before, I prefer BI over DeJounte Murray. I'm not here to argue with you guys. If you like DeJounte more, that's fine. That's fine. But no matter what David Griffin or Willie Green says, there's no way their plan this summer was to have DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, and Brandon Ingram next to Zion. That was not their plan. And I know I'm really contradicting myself because I'm saying he's lacking awareness in this, but in reality, the best thing for Brandon Ingram is to be traded, as I just said, right? But to a team that actually needs what he does, because this Pelicans team does not need Brandon Ingram to spread his wings. Not at all. They need him to be confined in this little role, and that's not who Brandon Ingram wants to be. And I don't think we can blame him for feeling that way based on what he's already proven in his career. Now, it may be underwhelming to someone like me who thought he'd be, a 3-4-time All-Star by now, but he's still proven a lot in the NBA. He's supposed to be entering his prime, and they're asking him to do something you do at the end of your prime. So I don't blame Brandon Ingram too much, but I hope he knows wherever he goes, he's gonna have to change his game up a little bit. But at this point, realistically, who's trading for Brandon Ingram in September? I don't really see it happening, and I hate to say it, but I think he's gonna be a Pelican this year. I don't feel like he's the type to not play basketball. I don't think it would ever get to that dire of a point, but maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm underestimating him. And the whole Team USA experience also doesn't help, even though people just seen what happened with Jason Tatum. But all those coaches are potential teams you could see going after Brandon Ingram. But if they didn't like what they seen from him as far as, practice or, demeanor or attitude, whatever it might be, we don't really know what happened there. But, Steve Kerr, the Warriors would be a great fit for him. Eric Spoelstra was on that staff. How does he feel about BI? I feel like Miami would be a good fit for him. The Clippers, what are they actually doing? They might actually go for someone like Brandon Ingram, a younger, maybe get some fans from LA in the seats. I don't know. Popovich wasn't on the staff, but the Spurs are another team. I feel like Brandon Ingram would be a great fit, a great bridge in between, Chris Paul and Wemby, and he wouldn't get in the way of Devin Vassell too much. But BI might not be a pop guy. The Kings were rumored to get BI. Mike Brown was just coaching for Steve Kerr a couple years. Does that play a factor in any of this? Am I overthinking that? But I do think Brandon Ingram's reputation more than his game is, not in a great spot around the league. And I feel like that's the main reason he's not being traded for, because it's not a talent thing. I think people don't like, again, the lack of awareness of Brandon Ingram, and he's not helping his case with this video, even though I agree with him. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you really see a scenario where Brandon Ingram is he really gonna be a malcontent? Because I didn't have that on the bingo card, but it might actually happen. Let me know in the comments down below. Please drop a like, please comment, please subscribe. I'm out. Peace.